What's going on, everybody? Dogman Dan here. Ghost Recon Wildlands closed beta. So this is kind of like my review. I'm gonna talk about a few different things in here, good, bad, indifference, whatever you want to call it. But this is just for me playing it. Spent a lot of time playing it over that closed beta weekend. It was actually a very fun game. Um, there's a couple things I want to talk about here and give you my impressions. You know, whether I'm going to buy the game or not and such. So let's kind of get this thing started. Okay, so part one, big thing. When you first get in the game, you always go into your settings and you check through the graphics and the videos and audios and all of that stuff, right? And the menus were actually really, really well done this time. And by that I mean, if you're looking right now on the screen, you'll see me playing around with the graphics section, okay? And what Ubisoft did here is they actually showed you in imagery what the differences are on the details and the changes that you make. You can see the VRAM usage, it's anticipating. You can see the level of quality that goes through, and this is throughout the whole menu system. So not just graphics, but all the way through every little thing in the game in terms of the menu system. And that's phenomenal. This is kind of a first off for me. I've not seen another developer from games that I play do something like this, where you actually see the visual difference, just images, but visual differences of what these things are. It's really going to help out people that don't understand a lot of these graphic stuff, and it allows people that have really high graphics cards to really put in the details, see what they want, see how much usage they're getting out of it. Phenomenal job when it comes to the menu system, and I think other developers should take note on this, and this should be something that they start incorporating into the game, into future games, to help out players that don't understand everything via this visual change. Phenomenal spot there. So then we have other things too. So we have like the weaponsmith, right? Now we've seen the weaponsmithing in many games, and this really they took into the weaponsmithing really well in Future Soldier. That's when we really saw a big change in how they did the weaponsmith, right? And they've refined it a little bit in the Division. It's a little more refined here in terms of how this one does it. But overall, again, really deeply involved. A lot of visual. You can see everything that's going on. You can understand the changes that are going into the weaponsmithing. So visually, damage wise, this is something that you'll spend a lot of time in, obviously leveling up as you get the parts throughout the gameplay and all that stuff. And I like seeing this every time that they come out with it. They refine it a little bit more each and every time, and I think it's very well done. Is it perfect? I don't know that I would say it's perfect, but it's definitely very well defined in this game. Something that you're going to be spending a lot of time doing to get your right setups the way that you like them to play. So again, something that I really enjoyed during the beta was this, and obviously they're going to refine it a bit more. There'll be other parts that are out there. Obviously, some things you'll probably see in the future, additional like skin packs and things like that that'll be available for purchase, kind of like they do with with like the Division, with like Rainbow Six Siege, that type of stuff. So obviously visuals, and being a third person shooter, you'll be able to see these visuals a little bit better in terms of your character, in terms of your weapons. So that again is a really nice setup that they did in here regarding weaponsmithing. Same thing is going to apply when you get into your profile, when you get into looking through your stats and such, and enhancing your weapons, upgrades, if you will. Very well thought out menu system. It takes a little bit to get used to it and understand it, but overall it gets very smooth, very quick. You can understand it based off of certain things that you pick up, different intel, different points that you collect throughout the world that go into your stuff, that allows you to get to the next levels, allows you to enhance your skills in various different stuff, weapons, drones, items, physical, squad, rebel support, all that type of stuff, till you get to the epic skill level, if you will. So there's a lot involved in progression wise. Again, laid out very well in terms of the menu system. Something else that I really liked about that. Now, map-wise, we only had access to one section of the map, okay? But as you can see on the screen, there's a huge map in here. So it's a very open world. It's going to be a lot of stuff going on, a lot of different challenges, a lot of different skill levels. We only saw a little bit. And of course, you can change your skill level from, your basic low end, just go in there, have fun. You're not going to die a lot type of thing, to what they would consider the ghost level. And I mean, I saw some differences in terms of that when I tried out the different levels, and we'll discuss that in a bit. But overall, we only had a very, very small portion of what the initial part of this game is definitely going to be. And then you've got probably expansions and such down the road as well, and your DLCs and season passes and stuff. Though I wish they really would go away with season passes and really find a different way to implement things in that regards. But so the map system, very well, you're going to have a lot to do. You'll be able to see everything on there, so you can get and run around and do whatever you want. Since it's entirely open world, you don't have to play by any specific spot or rules. So beyond that, we get into just gameplay. It's pretty fun. If you watch my live stream, I did it for a few hours. I just had fun with it the first time that I went live streaming. I got in there, I played around with it, raced the cars, drove the cars around, played the helicopters, airplanes. I just dabbled with everything, tried out some of the missions, really enjoyed the whole open world aspect of it. Didn't take it too seriously. And then I went back in again later when I wasn't live streaming, and I got a little more serious about the game, so I could kind of feel the difference. Now, when you're in there, if you're doing this with friends and you want to have fun, I think this game is definitely set up in that regards. It's going to allow you to just go in, have a blast. You get to do, your sync shots with your teammates. You get to do so many things that you see from prior games. The open world is beautiful in that regards. It takes a little bit of time. Obviously, it was just closed beta, so it wasn't fully optimized. It took a little bit of time to get some optimal settings in there to get a decent setup in terms of FPS and whatnot. But I ran pretty smoothly for the most part. I would say after I did some benchmarking and whatnot, I came in at about 55 frames based off of my equipment, which from what I currently see is more on the lower end scale of requirements. So I was pushing the game a little bit harder on my PC than somebody with newer gear, but it still worked pretty good for me, and I'd expect it to be much more refined by the time it comes in and goes live. Now, if you're looking for kind of had a little bit of a GTA feel to it, wasn't really anything too serious when you were having fun with it. And I like that about a game, that you can just go in and have fun and do stupid shit, if you will, and enjoy it. But at the same time, you can go in and do a little bit of tactical stuff. Now, I'm not going to say that it has any feeling of, the co-op setup of Future Soldier and the other Ghost Recon series that we are used to in that regards, because it's not. It's an entirely different way you play. The mechanics are totally different than from Future Soldier. But I do like it. It's a little more on the Division style that they've gotten into. I like, though, here, when you scope in, you actually scope in. Where in the Division, you don't scope in, even though you have the scopes and stuff. So that game is a bit more challenging. This one is a bit more, it feels a bit more, I wouldn't say totally realistic, but it does feel a bit more, I guess, involved into the game, if you will. So there's that, and I definitely like that. When I got into the more serious style and do the plays and think of tactics and sync shots and everything, it was there for me. It was definitely a fun game in that regards. And I know, looking at that map, that there's going to be a lot to it. Now, I'm not saying there wasn't bugs. There were some glitches that occurred, and expected. There were points after a few hours that, I would find things that were freezing. In terms of different sections of the map, it would freeze for a second, that type of stuff. I think some of the missions can get repetitive, but then realistically, what game doesn't have repetition in it? It's all in what you're looking to get out of it. Um, if you think about it. So, I mean, every game at some point has repetition, right? Some of the games you played, some of the games I play today has repetition, but as long as I'm enjoying myself and that's just the way I play it, it doesn't really bother me so much. You know, people play it and then they get bored of it. Oh man, it's too repetitive, too repetitive. And that's not the game that you really want to be playing. That's just the way it is, right? But if you're going in and you're enjoying it, I am not the hardcore elitist player. I'm too old, I think. Yeah, right. That's got to go for the younger group, I guess. But um, so when I'm thinking of game, I'm thinking of, can I have fun? Can I enjoy it by myself? Can I enjoy it with friends? You know, is there everything that I'm looking to get out of the game there? Is there too many bugs? Is there too many problems? Should I wait? A lot of things. I don't really do a lot of pre-orders. There's a lot of games I'd like to buy, and having the opportunity to participate in closed betas, always a good thing, because it gives you a chance to feel for it. It gives you a chance to relay the messages out on, YouTube, um, about the game and such, if you will, and what your thoughts are. So I would say, yeah, there's plenty of people that made their reviews out there. There's plenty of people that have, good and bad things to say. And overall, I'm going to say that my experience with the game was very good. No, it's not a perfect game. Far from perfect. There are bugs in there. Not much I really want to talk about, because you really want to see what comes out in the final product before you can say, okay, they didn't fix this, they didn't fix that. Um, you have the opportunity to get on the forums and give out your feedback, and obviously videos, and they'll make changes all the way up until that date that they release. So I would expect, your first day patch release, and requirements will probably change a little bit as they refine it a little bit more, that type of stuff. But if you're looking at something that's going to be something like dead serious tactical shooter type of game, this is definitely not that game. It is not a fully completed dead serious. This is, ghost mode only type of game. Because even in ghost mode, it wasn't overly crazy in terms of challenges. I guess the way the AI was scaled to ghost mode wasn't what I would expect it to be. It was more of changing your bullet sponginess, So if you're in like regular veteran mode, 5-6 shots on you would kill you. You hit ghost mode, maybe 2 shots and you're dead. So that's the different type of stuff. It's not that it's more difficult, it's just that they changed the scaling as to how fast you can die, type of thing. The AI still do pretty much the same stuff. They still group up the same way. A lot of their mechanics aren't different, and that could also be partially based off of just being the beta, having access to just the one section of the beta, which if you looked at the map had the sections off in different star levels. So we were really playing on level 1 type of area is what they gave us access to, where there's areas that are level 5. So I would expect differences in terms of AI to be a little bit different in there. That type of stuff, where the gameplay is going to be much more difficult, much more challenging. So there's definitely that to look forward to. Will I buy the game? I will probably buy the game. I will most likely not pre-purchase. I'm not really ready to pre-purchase. If you've been following my channel recently, I've been very hooked on The Division since probably December, when I picked it up during the Steam sale. And I'm now really, really, really getting into that one. And Wildlands is going to be definitely something that I want to pick up. I'm definitely going to get it. Probably more for me when it's on a sale, when I know that I'm going to have a good group of friends, buddies, people that I can play with on it. And if more people do pick it up early, then I'll probably end up picking it early, because I like the game, I like the way it plays, I like the mechanics enough that I think my value would be there for the price. But I do really think this game to be more co-op style, where I know I can either go in and have fun with everybody, or we can be totally serious shooter style and really enjoy it that respect. So I could go either way. It's also at the time that there's 5 or 6 other games that are releasing that I'd like to get my hands on, and I really have to make a decision on which one more or less I can choose. So budget wise, because it does get expensive quick, right? So I mean, and that's the thing, right? For everybody, you're always choosing which ones. So I know that playing some other closed beta games, or open beta games, whatever you want to call them, the same weekend as this, I was not impressed with those games. I put them to the side, more or less. I just had a lot of fun in this one, and I kept finding myself going back to this and putting the Division on the side temporarily, just so I could play this game. So, I enjoyed that part. So overall, hopefully you get an idea. They did a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, a lot of menu system changes, things that would really help you out there that I enjoyed. Overall, the gameplay is good, the mechanics are good. You can go in and have fun. You could go in and be a little bit more serious. Don't expect it to be the same type of tactical-based setup that it was with the prior Ghost Recon games at all. It doesn't feel at all like Future Soldier did, because, well, those are closed-end maps. This is open-end world, so there's a big difference just regarding that as well. But it's going to be up to you guys. Of course, you'll know when I pick up the game, because I'll either let you know I picked it up if I picked it up before the game releases, or obviously once I get it on a sale and I start showcasing gameplay of it, then it'll be there. It is a game that I do want to get. I think the value is there for it. I think the work put into it is clearly shown where they want to go with it, and that they are definitely serious about the game. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for plenty more stuff on the channel as always, and I will catch you next time.